Hey guys, it's your boy, Ballface8020, back again with another great commentary. So I saw an interesting video tonight, apparently it was made like 2 weeks ago, of, it wasn't really a response to me, and I believe the video is unlisted, so I can't reference it, sorry. I'm not even sure I'm allowed to mention who made it. But the guy I was talking about, apparently, I guess he's gotten into it, or I don't know if he's got into it with Dbdr or it's just made comments on him before. And so I guess he was talking about like the importance of personality, kind of going back to like what my video about personality was, just saying that personality is also really important. And, the black pillars don't understand it. And so there was more to it than that, but that was kind of the, basic thing that set the whole thing off. But he mentioned, one thing he mentioned is that I, in my videos, have frequently mentioned that I hate autistic people. And, I always feel guilty for saying that, so I just want to clarify what I mean. I know that, like, probably a good amount of my viewers are autistic, and even if people who, even if, like, just in general, like, it's not a very nice thing to say. The first thing I have to say, so he was talking about, like, maybe it's just a certain type of autistic person. Well, let me just say that I did not have a problem with autistic people before the black pill. It was dealing with autistic black pillers. When you combine mild autism with the black pill, that really bothers me a lot. And, like, a lot. And, that was probably the main reason, like, I was as critical as I was of Dbdr, because he kind of sets off everything, the mild autism plus the black pill stuff. And then, even like somebody who comes off as a really nice guy, that Travis black pill guy, like his video really pissed me off. The one that when I was talking about the oofy doofy stuff, because the autism was just like, for some reason, when you mix autism with the black pill, it's just, to me at least, just like one of the most annoying things in the world. Having said that, I'm going to be honest and say that really all kinds of autism bother me. And like even something like, look, if it's just something like Zuckerberg or Musk, or, I know he's not with us anymore, but the guy who did Apple, Steve Jobs, like, yeah, I dislike those guys, and I dislike them because of their autism. But but not like that much, it's just like, they're like, and in the case of Jobs, like, he wasn't just autistic, he was a dick. And he was like, and whereas like Musk and Zuckerberg are just like more like annoying in their autism, but they're not like, they're not, I mean, they're evil, obviously, but they're, at least Zuckerberg is, but they're more just like obnoxious. But I wouldn't really call them dicks, they're just autistic. But like even stuff, and I mentioned this story before of this, I wasn't there, but this girl was telling this story of, she was at some party or gathering or something, and, somebody had said that their sister was like 9 years old or something, had been missing for a few weeks. And this guy who was autistic, he was like legit diagnosed autistic, said, well, probably what happens is she's either been murdered and her body hasn't been found, or some pedophile is keeping her captive. And then, like, so when everybody freaked out at him and like, dude, what's the problem? Why are you saying that? Like, he just couldn't understand it. Like, he was like, what? That's probably what happened. And he's right, and it's not his fault that he's that way. But I can't help but getting like extremely angry about that stuff. Like, I know it's not their fault, but it still really pisses me off a lot. And but I'm not saying that like somebody, like, you should be mean to autistic people, or like, that they don't deserve like treatment, and they certainly deserve empathy. And I'm not saying that I couldn't, be civil, with an autistic person, or wouldn't help an autistic person or something. I want them to get help. I'm sorry that, they're going through it, but I'm just saying that it really does bother me, just being honest. But like I think what started it all was the autistic black pill stuff. And, what bothers me, like, because the black pill is dominated by the black pill, which should be just like, actually, let me go dial back a second. Coach Blackpill is the person who introduced me to the black pill. And he always said, he said the name Coach Blackpill is kind of a joke. I'm trying to get people away from the black pill. So he was saying he didn't even consider himself black pill because he interpreted the black pill as being, your chat or you rope. And that really is what the autistic black pillars think. They really do think you have to be a 10 out of 10 to get like some obese grandma in a trailer park. That's seriously how they think. I know it's like you're like, no, they don't really think that. Yes, they do. They're that fucking crazy. Either they say the only way you can get, the only other way is beta bucks. That's how they mean, because anything else is beta bucks. If she doesn't, in their mind, if she doesn't see you like from pictures and doesn't like feel overwhelming like lust just from looking at you, you are beta bucks. And you can never get that reaction unless you're 10 out of 10 chat. And it's just like, it's so retarded, and the people who talk that way are just so annoying. And they think about you, because it would be one thing if they were just saying it, like if they were just trolling, then it would be like whatever. But it's not that. It's that they're that autistic. And these people also tend to be, like I said, they're overwhelmingly Zoomers. And I guess I shouldn't have said like I said, because I hadn't said that, but they're overwhelmingly Zoomers. And they will almost always say the average height of the guys in my school is 6'2". Let's say it's like 6'2", 6'1", something like that. Occasionally they'll say something insane like 6'3" or 6'4". And it's not true. It's absolutely not true. I see Zoomers around here where I live. They're the exact same fucking height they were when I was in high school. Okay, it has not changed at all. I guess if I'm thinking about it, I've probably seen a few more taller ones than I remember. Like we had plenty of 6'4" guys in my high school, 6'3", 6'4" guys. So I couldn't really compare, but I'm not sure if there's more who are that height, or I just only noticed the ones who are that height. I don't know. But no, I mean, I don't believe that they've gotten any taller at all since my generation graduated, which makes sense, because why would they? And then because I know the black pillars are going to respond with something retarded like it's the growth hormones in the food. Dude, that shit's been in our food for like 50 years, okay? No, you are fucking retarded. You're autistic, and that is why everybody hates you, not your looks, okay? And so that really pisses me off, that one. And okay, so but anyway, on Dbdr, apparently he's bigger in this space than I had realized. The video I was watching was super critical of Dbdr. I actually, despite my last video on Dbdr, which is titled "I Cannot Stand Dbdr," no, I made a video after that responding to his response. This guy in the video I was watching was saying that Dbdr was a bad guy. Like he was actually like a bad person. And I never got that impression from Dbdr. I said like he had a person, like I think I said in the video I could never be friends with him. Like, I just find his personality that irritating. But I don't think I ever said he was a bad guy, and I didn't mean to imply that. And even now, like I still, like, I know this guy whose video I was watching, he was saying Dbdr is a bad guy. Maybe he is, I don't know. But I don't think he is, at least from what I've seen. I do think he's probably on the spectrum, even though it's kind of slight. And the truth is, it's not nice to say, because I do kind of like Dbdr in a way, but he's not very likable. That's true. He's not. And he's like, now there are people obviously who really like him, but that's probably because they're not very likable either. They're probably the same type of thing, like mildly on the spectrum, and he's somebody they can relate to. So, and like, just being unlikable doesn't mean anything. Like, it's like there's a huge difference between being unlikable and being like a bad person. Some people just aren't likable. It's not a big deal. Some people are horrible, evil people, but they're really likable. I mean, look at Joe Biden. Like, he's totally like he didn't rape, but molested his own daughter. He won't even acknowledge one of his grandchildren. and he used his crack addicted son to to do like backroom business deals. I mean, he's a bad guy, really a bad person. But he's likable. Like, I don't think he's likable, but he's definitely got a charm that you can see. And look, Trump. Again, people are going to disagree with me, so say he's not likable. Okay, whatever. I can see that he's not likable to a lot of people. I don't even really like him in a lot of ways, but there's like a charm there. And let's take a more extreme example. Ted Bundy. He was definitely likable. John Wayne Gacy, very likable. Not as likable as Ted Bundy, but still likable. And they were horrible guys. They were really bad guys. So it doesn't mean anything. You can be unlikable and be a good person, and vice versa. Yeah, Dbdr thing. I agree that what this guy was saying in the video, the guy who was talking about Dbdr was saying this is a guy his problem is his personality, not his looks. I don't think there's any question from watching Dbdr's videos that's true. I don't think there's any question at all. We don't know like how legit his stories are or not. Like I said, the reason that I kind of like Dbdr is when I made that video criticizing him, he really took the high road in the response. Like, he went out of his way to ask his viewers not to give me any shit. And some of his responses, and so he just like responded and he didn't make it personal, which I think takes a lot of character, because it's not like if somebody makes a like whole 45-minute video about how they can't stand you, and this isn't how I meant it, but he interpreted it as me saying that like he was a whiner who just felt sorry for himself and thinks he's incredibly, which was not what I meant to say. When I said, because I said, like, he thought, like, there was this part in the video where I said, like, he just has to be, like, the unluckiest guy ever. And he interpreted that as me saying, and I agree that this is what it sounded like, as me saying that he considered himself the unluckiest guy ever. That's not what I was trying to say. I was trying to say that the reason I disbelieved so many of his stories is because they involved these very, very, very low probability negative events. Not that it meant he was the least lucky person ever, but just that he would have like these incredible run of negative low probability events in his life, even if other people have it a lot worse. And I guess I should have been, more clear about that. But anyway, so that's a video, like a lot of people would have taken that personally and they would have responded more harshly than him. So I've always been really impressed by the way he responded. And so like the stuff about so for this person to say that he's a bad guy, again, maybe he is, but I don't think that's true. I think he's just a guy who's on the spectrum and is like, he's on the spectrum, and no, he doesn't have a likable personality. Some of that's probably related to the experience he's had in life. Some of that's probably because he's depressed. He might actually have, clinical depression. But the thing is, from Dbdr, whether you like him or not, and this has a lot to do with, like, I think for somebody to be a bad person, there needs to be, like, malice there. I don't sense any malice with Dbdr. Like, you may not like him, but I don't sense any malice. But the thing is, like, about, like, why I, disliked Dbdr, and I still, like, have, one thing I said in that video that I totally stand by is that we could never be friends. And no, we absolutely couldn't. I could never spend any time with him. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's, because of just the way he approaches things, just doesn't work for me. The thing is, like, he I'm not going to rehash it here. Like, you can go watch that video if you're interested. His stories, like, because one of the things I was saying was, and I'm pretty naive, was that this is a guy who I just don't believe his stories. And his response to it is, well, these stories, because like I was talking about the timelines not working, and he said, and I do kind of believe this, and maybe I'm being naive again. He said, well, like, the stories are just stories. They aren't necessarily all from last week. And, so sometimes, like, so I'm mixing, I'm mixing stuff up. And a lot of the stuff, like, he might even be, like, we don't know, like, how out of it he is. He might even be like not really sure when these things happen. And I absolutely know it's possible for people to remember things differently than they actually happen. So, like some of the stuff like one of the things he said that I said didn't happen that I feel kind of bad about was when he said that he was in this one class where every guy except him was 6'4". And normally I don't like that stuff and I criticized him for that. But if the class was really only like 5 guys, like he said, then I guess it's possible. Like, I mean, it's unlikely, but I guess it's possible. The thing is that he's said so many things that there just didn't happen. And like the one that really bothered me was when he said that he went to the doctor's office and got his height measured at 6'1", and then when he went back the second time to measure it, they measured him at 5'9". Like, that didn't happen. It did not happen. I know he insisted it did. It didn't. Okay? It didn't happen. Now, I don't know if he's lying or if he just remembers it wrong. It didn't happen. Okay? So if Dbdr is watching this and you honestly remember it happened, you're delusional. You're remembering something that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Ever. Not just to you. It's never happened to anyone in the world. It didn't happen. And, so like when somebody tells something like that, just like casually tells something that obviously didn't happen, like, yeah, that bothers me. That bothers me. And, and then actually there was one other thing that was also height related, not to spur too bad on height thing. He said that, one thing he said is that when he went back to community college, everybody there except him was a boomer. No, not true. Not true. And I know in my response he responded to that and said, yes, look, that's my experience. No, it isn't. That's not what happened. But, that's not really what bothered me as much as him. Because I know because I've been to community college. And he's going to say some bullshit like, well, my community college is in a different part of the country. Dude, whatever, man. It doesn't, they're all the same. The community college at night, if you were going at night and saying it was all boomers, I still wouldn't believe you, but it would be reasonable. But during the day, no. And when he said boomers, he means like people who are like 30, 25 to 30. And but whatever, man, whatever. And then the other thing he said was that the average height of boomers, again, he means people in that 25 to 35 age group, is around 5'5". He says, I think he even said, like, I know it's not true, but the ones I see around me are all like 5'5". Nope, that's not true. That's not true. Not true. You see a 5'5" guy in that 25 to 35 age bracket 3 times a year, maybe. Not every single time. No, that is the most retarded thing I've ever heard. It's literally I'm being serious. That is worse than I was measured at 6'1" and then at 5'9", which didn't happen, and to anyone ever, not just to you. But no, they say that like the average boomer height you see is around 5'5". It's like, oh well, actually, it could probably have meant like 5'7". Nope, didn't happen. Totally retarded. Totally out of this world retarded. I have never heard something so retarded. And I've heard a lot of retarded shit. And I don't think anybody else has heard it. I remember I remember this guy who was saying, who was he trying to say? He said that, oh yeah, a guy who I went to high school with told me that, and he was being serious, like, I think that humans exist because aliens came here and bred with monkeys, and then that produced humans. And I was like, wow, that's literally the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And at the time, it was true. But no, it's not nearly. I mean, that's like the most brilliant piece of philosophy in history compared to saying like the average height of boomers is 5'5". So I don't know. Did I get off topic here? What am I even supposed to be talking about? Oh, right. So Dbdr. No, I don't think he's a bad guy. I'm just saying I can relate to, like, the thing is, like, we could never be friends because how could I be friends with somebody who says stuff like that? And but I agree that his problems are personality, and it's a tough thing, for people to say. I've talked about this before because it feels like an attack. Like, it feels like, if somebody's struggling, romantically or socially or professionally, and you say it's their personality, it's like it's already hard for them. And now what they're going to interpret it as, and I would have too when I was younger, is like, not only is it hard for me, and I'm trying to do better, and Dbdr does sound like he's really trying, but now not only is it hard for me, but you're saying it's my fault and that I'm not trying, and it's not. I know it's not my fault, and I am trying. So of course people are going to be offended by that. But the truth is, like I was saying, it's not your fault, because unfortunately our culture, and maybe all cultures, I don't know, but we kind of, I don't know if it's a cultural thing or if it's an intuitive thing, we just assume that you have control over your personality. But the truth is, trying to improve your personality, whatever you mean by that, it's like trying to improve your height. It's not going to happen. Your personality, just like, and I made a video talking about this, and I believe this, by the way. I know that black pillars say it's cope, and I get it. There was a time where I would have saw the same thing, so it doesn't bother me. I totally understand why you feel that way. Someday you'll understand what I'm talking about. Might not be soon, but someday you'll be like, Ballface 80/20 was right. One thing I was saying is, your physical form is not you. Okay, it's really not. And I know it feels like it is. I've been there. I know why you feel that way, but it isn't. And but people kind of everybody says that, right? But we just say, like, that's blue pill bullshit. People say whatever, but like, it didn't even occur to me that, like, your personality isn't you. Like, even when I got to that point where I kind of could see that, like, my where I stopped really, like, and I'm not like this now, but like I'm talking when I had that kind of no self experience and didn't really identify anymore with, my physical form. I didn't really, what I mean is, I no longer really looked in the mirror and then saw that as me. I looked in the mirror and was like, there is a person there, but I didn't see it as, I no longer associated that person there with me. And however, even then, not that I thought about it, but I would have associated my personality with me. And, the thing is, but your personality isn't any more you than your physical form is, and it's easy to prove, right? Brain damage, have some brain damage, have a 100% recovery, your personality is going to be totally different. So which is the real you? It's like, there is no real you, because you don't really exist. And there's a black pill for you. But no, it's true. You can't change. I mean, other than brain damage, and that's probably not going to make your personality better. No, you can't change or improve your personality. You can't. I mean, it will naturally change with time, for better and for worse. But like, in terms of like forcibly changing it, no. Forcibly, like deliberately changing it, no. Like, based on time and what you experience and stuff, you will, to an extent, have some personality changes. Okay, like, no amount of experience is going to make me some confident, domineering type guy. There's nothing that, other than, a brain transplant, nothing's going to do that. And also, well, yeah, absolutely, your personalities, there's always going to be some relation of your personality and your looks too, because both of those, your looks affect how other people view you and how people view yourself. I mean, the only way that it wouldn't really make a difference is if you were literally deluded about your appearance. Like you looked in the mirror and actually literally saw Chad staring back at you or something, or you saw somebody hideously ugly. Either of those could have an impact on your personality, even though your physical, you actually look the same as you normally do. I'm sorry, I know I didn't say that well, but hopefully you got the idea. So yeah, I mean, and that's a black pill too. Like, the thing is, because personality is a really important thing. Not, like I said, not just romantically, but just in anything you do in life. And bad, for lack of a better word, personality can lead to a lot of problems. And sometimes even if you have pretty good looks too. I mean, it's definitely like a weak personality. I know from being a kid, just being short and scrawny, you're not necessarily going to get bullied, as a kid, because I knew plenty who didn't. But you can actually be pretty big and strong. You got a weak personality, and middle school is going to be brutal. And you know, like if you kind of got like a weak, nerdy personality, and yeah, eventually people grow up, but some of that's going to kind of always be there. And it's tough, and you know, like it's tough to like tell people like there's really nothing you can do about it. Now you can cope with it. There are things you can do to cope with it, just like there are things you can do to cope with being short, cope with being ugly, you know, cope with being stupid, cope with being autistic. But actually changing your personality, no, you can't. And you know, it's rough. That's all for now, and I'll see you in the next.